are now at the beginning of a period of time. We are going to see many changes in the world.
Con el espíritu creativo que llevo conmigo, a hoy sigo hasta este día la antigua filosofía, buscando el origen, la esencia y el destino del ser humano, reconstruyendo lo que se fue perdiendo en el infierno de 1519. Ahora medito para que mi mente se eleve, recreando la esencia del concepto del universo, dentro del verso, flor y canto, poesía y canción para despertar tu imaginación y buscar la fundación de la creación mientras preservando la tradición, manteniendo las jornadas por las tinieblas hacia las sagradas tierras del negro y rojo, los colores del antiguo filósofo y sabio, estudiando las pinturas y figuras dentro de las estructuras, consideradas ruinas, pero hay mucho más atrás de sus edificios, profundos significados no fácilmente aceptados.
Humanity need to be more spiritual. Humanity working with the spirit. That's the only way can save Mother Earth.
I don't dream dreams, I see visions. Hieroglyphic inscriptions offer definitions to all the questions, and every lesson is like a passage back to my origin. Ancient doors are open once again, back to the past, revealing my inherited task, defense and protection of the ancient wisdom. So I'm passing the fire to my father's son's children, and the sacred medicine heals the soul within. Next of kin of the traditional Mexican, magnificent Maya master mathematicians. Ancient traditions are passed down through my visions, awakening ambitions and natural connections to the four sacred directions.
Humanity, they are looking for something more deep. It is part of that Mayan prophecy. It looks like 500 years we were sleeping. But now we begin to wake up. But now we begin to wake up.
I'll be the Mayanist scientist, write my lyrics in hieroglyphs, like the world my mind twists. 360 degrees, I fall to my knees in deep prayer. Entropy God's lair, he gives his wise words and flies away as a quetzal bird. All I heard were the sounds of the jungle. The cosmos sees me humble, in my faith I'll never stumble. I feel the earth rumble, the sacred flower blooms again, signifies the wicked's end. The stones will talk again and the lame will walk again in the ways of the past. No more social class, the future has been written and the ceremonies have been done. If we believe, the old ones will come to guide us back home. No longer will we roam in the prison caves. No longer will we be modern day slaves, captives to their material possessions. The kings have spoken and their spell has been broken. Say goodbye to this modern day hell. Count down to the year 2012.
We are now at the beginning of a period of time. We are going to see many changes in the world.
Changing event that is due to occur around the years 2012. And my research has been able to uncover that apparently the Maya intended 2012 to target the rare alignment of the December solstice sun with the Milky Way galaxy. Now, this is an empirically measurable alignment. Astronomers know about it. In fact, the U.S. Naval Observatory was able to calculate it. The phenomenon in nature that causes the solstices to line up with the Milky Way is a phenomenon called the precession of the equinoxes. There's a birth, there's a growth, there's a decline, and then there's a death and a renewal into the next cycle. So the Maya calendar and its understanding of 2012 and its understanding of this solstice galaxy alignment that is currently taking place has to do with world renewal and world rebirth.
LA Natives Podcast, Las Asalan Natives Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, comment on the video, join us in the live chat. Man, what a week, right, Zero?
Yo, 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 what up?
Yo, Ice Baby. You know, I saw one of these motherfuckers. Not one of them. I saw like a team of like 10 ice trucks
Really?
in the city of Pomona, bro.
Whoa. Heavy 10 trucks?
10 trucks, bro.
They're getting crazy, too.
I have never seen them in person outside of just like going to San Diego or going to Mexico. You know, you always see these fools, you know,
Right.
you know, around San Diego.
Right.
But I've never seen them up here like that.
That's crazy. No, and 10 deep. You know, that's the time we're living in. You know, it could be confusing at times, but, you know, I want to commemorate one thing. First, I want to say hi to the the chat and all of LA natives. And I want to welcome a guest, Guali. I thought that it'd be good to have a female voice and a female representation.
And I'm sure the
And-
majority of our viewers and listeners recognize her. She's a powerful influencer on social
Absolutely.
media, especially on, I believe, TikTok and Instagram.
Right. And I thought, why not, cross brand with the female energy that's doing the same thing I'm doing in her own way. And I thought, we kept going back and forth over something, and we're going to solve that today. But I said, instead of just, addressing issues, why don't just give her a voice? Put her on the microphone, let her have her chance to introduce herself. And the more she contributes, the more she'll be a part of. I want to welcome Wally.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's good to be here with you guys.
Cool.
Just do me a favor and try to position the mic as close to your vocals as possible. Yeah,
Hello.
absolutely.
There you go.
Shout out to Bugsy, our day one right there. We got Rolando
Bugs.
Cruz.
Bugs.
He's saying everyone in Pomona voted for Trump.
Well,
You know what? I think that backfired. A lot of Latinos, a lot of, Mexicans, Southern Americans, they voted for this fucking scumbag.
it's because we're all kind of just searching for direction. We
Well,
don't.
who else was there to vote for, bro?
We
It was either fucking this evil white man or that evil white man. Am I right?
Right. And Kamala Harris,
The-
she's also pro-genocide. So
Right.
a lot of people didn't want to vote for her for that reason too.
Yeah, and then she's all.
She was
into-
like the definition of a plant, just
Yeah.
like
No
put
one-
in there, forced, and just had no direction. Like I don't know. It just,
But in the
it was
bigger-
embarrassing.
in the world vision, though, those are the type of leaders they're kind of getting us ready for, unelected officials. Because think about El Salvador. Although yes, needed to be done, the gang thing needed to be done, but it doesn't need to be stuck in a situation where you never get out of jail and there's no hope. There has to be, out of all those people, some way to pick out good ones that know how to reform and know how to think. Now, that's not my thing to say, but the thing is that he has a more of an authoritarian rule over El Salvador than a democratic one. I don't know what you think, Wally.
I agree. I think his policies are really like they didn't get trials or anything. From what I heard, he just kind of just picked up people off the street,
Yeah,
and there was
Incarcerated.
a lot of innocent ones too.
right,
And their families were saying that they were just like stolen.
right.
So yeah, who knows what's going on in there? And
But in the
My wife is a Salvadoreña, and I'm gonna be real. You can't even listen to fucking hip hop over there.
yeah, it starts to bring up
If you
red
start listening
flags.
to like Tupac
yeah,
in the body over there, fucking cops will storm your fucking house, start interrogating you, start asking you, "Yo, are you from so and so?"
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, man, that's fucking dangerous.
because of the policies, because of
Just
the
be-
new president.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because they have like a almost zero tolerance for anything, even certain slangs.
They
My friend Robin's
they
from El
assume,
Salvador.
right? They assume that hip hop is related to gang
Shout
culture.
out to Robin.
Which obviously it is out here in the Western civilization, right? Like hip hop in the
Look.
United States is like the main focus is relating it to gangbanging, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say is they're trying to get us used to non-elected officials, which eventually this individual will be, right? They're not going to elect when he's not going to let go of power, is what I'm trying to say. So it's more of authoritarian. Unelected officials become puppets for authoritarian governments, right? So when Kamala Harris gets put there, when someone like Donald Trump wins the presidency, there's another facet behind what's happening here. So they're really kind of just getting us used to authoritarian rule, where we need to we can only earn certain amounts of money. It'll sound good at first, the transition period has to be like bountiful, where it's kind of like where you go and you sign up for Instagram and you go, I got 1 million followers, and you think you're talking to 1 million people until you're not, because you have to pay for ads to access those 1 million followers. You know what I mean?
Right. And then also Elon Musk, he's unelected as well.
Right. And he's making decisions for the country, right? So that's another good point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And making crazy decisions like, cutting, resources off. And I was telling, who was I telling? I was talking to somebody about how it's easy to point out a mess in someone's house. Like Donald Trump's going, look how messy it is. Look at how much wasteful stuff they're doing. And then he's going and doing he's distracting us with their stuff and doing even more corrupt stuff. Like far more corrupt than what he's pointing out on this side. But this side is so bad. It's so ugly on that side with all that corruption with Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and all them people that had all that time in power, Obama. They were all like one team. They were like Wall Street, and they were like using they were creating wars, printing money, and getting richer and wealthier.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand what you just said, that both sides are both wings of the same bird, and they have been corrupt for all these years without the public knowing.
Right.
So that's a good point.
Have you seen this fucking garbage, Zero?
No.
This motherfucker's a car salesman now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yo, like there's fucking people bombing the Tesla factories, fucking lighting Teslas on fire, fucking with people who own Teslas.
Because he shouldn't be in the position that he's in.
Yeah.
Look, believe it or not, this person who's making a car has somewhat say in world politics.
Because
But I have to admit,
okay,
right.
but look, I have to admit, I own an EV. My brother has a Tesla. It's a great fucking car, dude. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm just saying, if you need a vehicle, that shit works. And apparently, it never breaks down.
Look, it's a great car until you want to go really far.
Stick with doing fucking cars and trying to go to Mars, right?
Yeah.
Stick with doing that.
He tries to do
Because he's
everything.
fucking crying, talking about, yo, I'm doing everything to get to Mars, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go.
Look, the community of LA Natives is a layer kind of a community, right? You got people who kind of can see this surface of things where it's like on TV, and then there's another layer of it, right? Which is the CEO layer where nobody kind of sees, where it's like the George Soros and those people. And then there's another layer, which is spiritual and ceremonial. Those are the L. Ron Hubbards, the person that invented NASA. I forgot his name. But all these ritualistic layers that kind of govern everything else that goes all the way down.
You do know about NASA fucking up super hard. There's 2 astronauts stuck in the fucking space.
Right.
You're about that? They've been up there for 6 months, bro. Imagine being stuck up there for 6 months.
Everything is falling apart because NASA exaggerated on what they were doing in space, and they were taking a lot of money, like lots and lots of money. There's war defense budget, and then there's NASA budget. And that NASA budget is very big. And when people find out that they weren't really fucking doing crazy stuff like they said they were doing, and it was all staged and fake, and half of it was done on cameras and in graphic design and
Photoshop.
In Photoshop, there you go. It's gonna be what's happening is that the colonial powers that set up rule with lies is starting to crumble. Why am I saying this when we're talking about Elon Musk? Is because Elon Musk is a child of those people.
Exactly.
He's a child of L. Ron Hubbard. His mom is what, like somewhere around 70 or 60 years old. So she was in the 60s. In the 60s is when L. Ron Hubbard started to develop Scientology, and NASA started to become something very big in the United States because TVs were born. And when TVs were born, then people just believed whatever was on TV. They didn't have no way of going, oh, well, let me look this up on Google or let me search this. There's no way of knowing. You just manipulated people during that time. So
These are the two astronauts right here. This lady here and this guy here.
right.
The fuck are they up there? They're stuck.
Her hair looks kind of crazy.
Yeah.
They're jet propellers.
I think
one
but
wasn't working.
Remember, we're talking about TV. We're talking about TV. This is on news, right? So what other way, other than saying that we're going to go to Mars and or something that's believable in that way, what other way to sensationalize a rescue, right? So these people are stuck, right? And Trump's going to go sign an order, and and Elon Musk is going to go, hey, I'm going to invent a rocket. It's all staged, man.
Right.
It's not true.
I don't believe anything that they say. And then his spaceships blew up, or rockets blew up the other day. It failed again.
You know what? I don't really keep up with too much of the news that the current news. I kind of like just, as I scroll on social media, I see things and
Apparently, he's not as great of a
look,
scientist as we thought.
Look, I've been a CEO of a company that's been pretty wealthy, and I've been around people who built companies that are very wealthy. These individuals think they're so smart. They think they're so smart, but they don't. They just hire smart people, right? And those smart people excel in their businesses, and then they go, "Oh, look how smart I am."
Well, and they always use their excuse. It's the best that money could afford. Like their team?
Yeah.
Oh, the highest paid.
Right.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Right.
Are they going to get the job done?
But I seriously think that Elon Musk is making a serious mistake because,
well, look,
we're not in the
the
time.
whole government and NASA, they're depending on Elon Musk to go up there and save these people. Like NASA, they have no more resources,
man,
bro. This one man single-handedly took out the whole NASA corporation.
Yeah.
And you can't convince me, dog, in the 50s
Look,
and 60s,
no, he
these
didn't.
motherfuckers went to the moon, dog.
He didn't take.
This shit was fake as fuck.
He didn't take out NASA. Listen. His mom was connected to the leader of NASA. All the old world stuff has to die. NASA has to die. We're not going to go into the next 100 years with NASA at the. We're in a shift of time where technology is too available. CGI is so advanced, you can almost make a CGI thing of a planet, and people will believe like, "Whoa, that's a fucking planet. That's real." We're in that age, so NASA has to die. NASA was the age of television. Now we're in the age of internet, so NASA has to die. And what's going to replace it? SpaceX. And who is it going to come off of? The seed of the woman who got impregnated or something. He's connected to the person from NASA. That's all I know. I don't know the details. I'm not that far of a conspiracy theory but I know he's connected to NASA, and they're passing the torch on to him. He's going to be the next 100 years in manipulating the population and getting massive amounts of money directed towards SpaceX. And how is he going to get that funding? By saving these 2 stranded astronauts in the space station. How easy is that to see? You could see it a mile away.
Yeah,
his thing is his approval rating's really low. A lot of people. He lost a lot of approval. Like
he lost a lot of customers.
Yeah. His cars are crap. They're ugly.
Yeah, and then other countries are making. Mexico's making their own version of EVs.
Yo, these fucking crazy ass cars, they have a dance mode. Dog, this shit opens the doors by itself, starts fucking driving around, dancing on the street.
When I was on Red Note, when TikTok was going through whatever it was going through, when I was on Red Note, I saw a car that jumped. Like, oh, this car even jumps, and he pushes a button and like it does its little thing and it jumps.
Hydraulics, like a lowrider.
But all 4 of the wheels kind of jump, like not like a lowrider. Like lowriders kind of like front wheels are going up and down. I guess they wanted to go another level. Oh, and then it did 360 turns. So if you were in a like parked a certain, like if you were facing this way, it'll do like a 180 turn the other way without having to, move the car. The car just shifts. It was crazy. And it was cheaper. And guess what? It was cheaper than a BMW. So China, what I noticed about being on Red Note is that China doesn't exploit its population. In other words, it doesn't go, oh, the highest bidder wins. Over there, it's like, no, this is the price. Okay, everyone can afford that price. Okay, that's the price. And then everybody goes and they're very efficient when it comes to selling things. Yeah, obviously governmental things, world politics, that's different. But in terms of their society, how like their homelessness isn't like ours, their fentanyl problem isn't like ours. Like in comparison, I'm not trying to say I would be, I would move to that country. I'm just saying that there's differences in pricing. There's differences in like owning property. You only pay tax once. You don't pay tax yearly.
That's like Mexico.
Right, and they don't charge you registration for your car, so that's not a yearly cost for them. So those are a lot of costs that could add to our quality of life that would dramatically change it, because you go from being stressed out on how to pay the rent to, oh, okay, I have a little bit. Okay, we can go to the park and buy ice creams for everybody or whatever. I mean, that's the difference in China in terms of buying things, and setting your goals. You can actually afford here.
Yeah, here's money's getting tight here.
Yeah, like here
the
it's
United
almost
States.
like, imagine a kid who's like 17 and he wants to buy a Beamer. That's almost like impossible. Like the cars that they're showing them, the Phantom, the Rari, whatever, those are like so far away from them during this economic time that's happening with these presidents and what's happening with trade. All of those things are so unattainable. It's almost like a fantasy world. It's almost like a script.
While all this is going down, people just like us are getting snatched up, taken back to their fucking apparently homeland from what they claim, because borders don't exist in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fucking disgusting, bro, how it's like a whole hit on the indígena, la mexica, all the southern tribes, all, everybody.
Right. Kuali can talk about that.
Yeah. Well, there was no borders here, like Armando said, prior to the arrival of the Spaniards. And so this is really our land too, for Mexicans especially. We always been here. So, yeah, like Armando said, there's no borders here on native lands. There's no border walls.
Right. And that's why I think that's why ICE is targeting us, because we do have overwhelming numbers in these states. And those overwhelming numbers contribute a lot to the economy. But in the bigger picture, outside of the suffering of people and the fear that people have to go through daily, going to work, going home, staying at home, or even just the traumatic experience of seeing someone being taken away, that's traumatic alone. Even though it's not happening to your tia or your mom or your grandma.
But it's
happening to someone else's.
But it's happening to someone else's, and now it's getting on camera too. It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, it's such a fear tactic that was used by Nazi Germany. They used that kind of tactic against their population. So that should tell you about what times we're living in. But we also, although there's a lot.
And let's be real, money talks. If you have money, you can get your papers fixed in no time. Get the good lawyers, right? Fucking go through the processes in hyper speed.
And
But,
they
right?
also accept a lot of people who have money, who have education from other countries.
Absolutely.
The money to get a higher education.
Right.
Because they give
Now-
you visas to come here to study or to work, and
Right.
but only if you have money.
They just deported, though, I think, a Palestinian man, a protester, big influencer, who had a green card. And fucking, I guess he mouthed off, and Trump just fucking sent him off, dude. Like, it's fucking disgusting and embarrassing. But now I think they converted to this fucking gold card, right? Like the golden ticket. You hear about this?
The $5
Yeah.
million citizens.
5 million.
Oh my God.
Almost forgot about that already.
Think about
No,
that.
for these highly educated immigrants.
There was
They're going to be
Rich
able to.
people.
Yeah,
there was a good
exactly.
point. There was a
exactly.
good point that someone made about that, $5 million membership. It's like, okay, think about that really well. Is someone gonna pull out say if someone had $6 million or $7 million in the bank, you think he's gonna spend $5 million to be a citizen of the United States?
Exactly.
It's not.
It's
The
just-
person that has $25 million though, yeah, he might think about it. Because when he moves here, he's going to have better privileges than everyone else. Remember, it's a gold VIP. He's going to have tax write-offs. He's going to have, when he starts his businesses here, the people that he hires, he's not going to give a shit about because he's not from here. They're going to be like slaves, like worse than slaves, because if they get a hand chopped off, he's not going to care. He's just going to go like, fuck them. Right? These are the
Right.
people that they're trying to entice to come and move here. It's like, if you have enough money, we have a population that will manage your businesses, that will clean your houses, that will cut your grass, that will do all the things. Look at them; they're all over the place.
Oh, yeah. They
Just
can
buy your
exploit
$5 million, your $5 million thing, and then go put up your businesses, right?
Right. Yeah. That's all. That's how brown people have been exploited here since the beginning.
Yeah,
And from what I know, the United States was like in depression in the 1930s, and then that's when they started to do the Mexican repatriation
right,
and the mass deportations.
right.
But then then they were saying that the Americans needed all the jobs, that Mexicans were taking the jobs. So then they kicked them out. But then no, they needed the Mexicans to come back in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
Yeah, because everyone had gone to war, so then they needed them to come back to save the economy here and keep it running, keep things running. So they always use Mexicans, they always use brown people, right? But then when they're done, they throw them away,
yeah.
you know?
Well,
No, but I have to say, I have a big feeling, and it looks to me as a big hit on Mexico and all Mexicans, raza, you know?
look, what happened in
a big
Mexico?
fucking-
What happened in
embarrassing.
What happened in Mexico is a unique situation because the people that are in governance now are starting to, at least, now they're not solving all the problems. I'm not saying that they're not corrupt. I'm not saying any of those things, but at least Mexico was known to be having presidents that came to the United States to study, and that would go back to Mexico and pretty much give away Mexico to foreign interests.
Exactly.
And now there's a governance for what already like a good, decade that has been concentrating on the population of Mexico, putting services out there for the next generations. Now they can go to college. I think it's a little easier for people to go to college. Indigenous people are getting autonomy over their lands. Indigenous people are getting voices over the social engineering of Mexico and what works and what doesn't work, right?
Right.
Because
She's giving
Sheinbaum,
the
she's
grants.
right, and she gave like a pension towards women at
Yeah.
52. I don't know what the age is, but she's doing a lot of socialist moves in Mexico are happening that is really kind of strengthening the workforce, and as they grow in trade
The small business.
and
too.
grow in technology, that's where I think the U.S. fears Mexico. Mexico has a long way to go because it has to clean up a lot of the
Well,
dysfunction of it, right? There's a
The
lot of
CTEL
dysfunction.
is the main
Yeah,
the thing to tackle, the trafficking of all the drugs and the people and all that.
right.
That's the best for last. I think she needs to work on, right?
But that's like
the main thing.
it is the main thing, but you can at least direct things where you strengthen the population and the community.
Yeah, she's working on that for sure.
And once the community and the population is strengthened, you can do what the American people did to the mobsters of the U.S. and convince them, hey, stop being a drug dealer, invest in businesses, clean your money. Like, that's the next step for Mexico.
Yeah, work
There has to be a position where smart businessmen stop risking the lives of their children for generation after generation after generation, and create kind of like what it's kind of like the movie The Godfather, where Michael Corleone was supposed to take the family into a legitimate business. Right. They were going to stop doing drugs, stop doing prostitution, stop doing all these illegal things, because they had enough money to go legit. Yeah. Now, I think that some of the CTs in Mexico are so wealthy that they could be those type of individuals to be entrepreneurs on other levels. Like, for instance, in one case, which I wish would happen, but let's say they legalize cannabis. And instead of concentrating on fentanyl, they're concentrating on domestic businesses in Mexico.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So
they should definitely put their energy towards something more efficient and safe for the people.
Right. Because fentanyl is really, really, really something that's terrorizing our neighborhoods, and the reactions that people. It's like walking down the street and you see this poor kid all full of dirt, and he's just rolling around, and
right.
It's not whether you're black, white, green, yellow, doesn't matter, man. You never want to see somebody in that situation go through that type of torture.
Yeah.
In the spirit, and I don't know. It's just something that we need to.
But it's like, I don't know if you follow, but even Claudia Sheinbaum pointed out that, this is a two-way street. It's not the Mexican CTAL. It's the international CTAL. It's the black market. It's the international market. It's not underground market, whatever you want to call it, but it's not.
And she has good points. She's like, how come you're not targeting the people that are laundering the money right. from fucking fentanyl?
I mean, she said it. She said the U.S. has CTALs also.
Yeah. And they're a part of the government. Some of them are a part of the government. That was established when Freeway Ricky's situation happened to the crack epidemic that CIA operatives were bringing in, and they're still involved. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. I'm kind of distracted over there.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know if you were trying to tell me like.
No. I don't. I think.
No,
well, yeah. Let's not do that. Let's kind of chill right there.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not trying to cure that situation. It's just Mexico's always been dangerous. Yeah. Even when the Spaniards were here,
because
it was
it's always
dangerous.
been this occupied, colonized lands. They brought the violence here.
But think about it though. Even in the time of our ancestors, it was not an easy place to live.
They had more like a normal.
Well, it's because it's due to violence why I'm here in this fucking
Right.
country.
Right.
Dude, over there,
they had normal, like battles and like normal type of stuff, but bickering and stuff. But they never genocide or colonization here.
No.
They didn't have enslavement. They didn't have all kind of trafficking or any kind of drug trafficking. None of that stuff.
Right.
All this corruption was brought here, and that ever since then, 1942 or 1492, that's when all the violence happened.
Well, I think it came a little earlier than that. I think in our history books we like to go, it's 1492, but
they came a little bit earlier.
I think that the Moors came here a long time ago, way before the white people. So? Yeah.
I don't know, but I know that there's those Wabo original people
because
that claim to be the Native Americans.
No. I don't mean it.
Yo, Zero. I think we have a caller.
Oh yeah, go for it. What's up?
Yo.
It's Art Lenore from Kansas City.
Hey, what's up, Art? How you doing?
What's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. Finally got to catch you guys live.
Right on. Cool, man. Welcome back.
But yeah, I just wanted to say a couple things on the topics you guys brought up.
Go for it.
The deportation thing, like I touched in, is just a power move on them, just to make sure that the next generation knows that this is their shit. So our kids grow up with like, because my daughter even called me once, was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm worried, or you gonna get deported?" You know what I mean? So that affects that generation.
Right.
They grow up now feeling as if they're below the white man. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, good point.
So that's a power play that's not just to just show people, oh, we'll deport you, this and that, or whatever's going on. It's bigger than that. Another thing about how a lot of our people, raza, we find it easier to make money in the streets, and then eventually we'll try and go legal. But even if when we go legal, we're still under their control because we're still using their currency, their money. And as long as we use their money, we're always going to be under their control.
Yeah.
So if somehow, some way we can figure out how to leave this bullshit dollar or just any currency, because we didn't have no currencies before the Spaniards got here. There were no money. None of that.
Currency, but not money.
Right.
But that money puts you in this mindset that you have to believe in this fake stuff that's not real, because money isn't real. This is just a cooperation of all of us believing that this dollar really carries value, but it's just a trust.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little note that's a trust. That's what it is. Is if I give you a 20, you trust that wherever you go take this $20, they're going to accept it and trust that, that it's worth that too. But it takes a collection of people to believe this. But we all know it's paper. It really doesn't do nothing.
And I think
right?
that's the time that we're in right now, where people are starting to decode that part of reality, where this fake paper that we're like, what elites plan on is that the paper gets taken away completely and that we start fighting each other over things, right? And then they think, well, they'll have no money to buy things from each other. And then they'll start trading. And when the trading is over, they'll start fighting each other for things. But that's not the way humanity works. You got to think of humanity as a big anthill. And when the anthill gets crushed, ants start to figure out how to fix it. And though look, the reason why there was no real currency, there was no real money, there was no coin, there was no paper, and cacao beans were just high value because they were high mineral. That was like gold. Like to be in the highest of health in a jungle or in a desert and you were strong and you were able to build houses and roads and had your math down and had your spirituality down.
Yeah, I think it's they had the different value systems.
Yeah.
Too.
So absolutely.
They weren't trying to
everyone relied
get rich.
everyone relied on doing something good. Yeah. And they all knew how to grow plants. They all knew how to grow animals that they ate. They all know how to do. Everyone knew how to. If you didn't know how to do it, then you were the poor one, because either your family died off and you didn't decide to learn anything, and so now they're responsible for you. So there's two very economic differences. Right now, I think Arturo is 100% right. As long as we're dependent on someone else saying, here's this paper, now go buy the valuable things, we'll never be free. So good point, Arturo, I think.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so if we can find a way of leaving it, and I get the cacao at least, it had true value to it. You eat it, you probably won't have to eat for another 3 days or whatever.
Right. How valuable was that back then? How valuable was that back then? Right? To have the power to fast.
That was real, yeah.
Yeah, to have the power to fast and focus and work 18 hours on whatever you're dedicating yourself to do. I mean, that was power back then. We need to get back to that. We put a lot of power into what they create. Right? Because no one educates us on what reality is. Like right now, we think that the New Year's is a new year that happened in January 1st. But in fact, today is the shift of time. Today is 13 house, 13 Gali. Today, time shifts into spring.
Today. I've heard different dates on that.
Everyone
too.
has their own count,
like
but
the 21st and the 20.
well, the 21st is the equinox, right? The 21st is the equinox. But in terms of the mathematical sequence and count that counts the 5 days of the Nemotemi, where one is to fast and meditate and reflect on last year and go into the new year with a new perspective and cleanse. I finished doing that just recently. And so the count starts, from my understanding and from the maestros Arturo Mesa, starts on March 12th. A lot of people celebrate it a little different here and there because everyone, this is how autonomous this wisdom was. Just because we had the Cuenta and the Nemotemi and the Tonalamat, everyone had control of when it started. But I follow Arturo Mesa's. And so I start my fast on the 7th and I end it on the 12th. And so today, March 12th, marks the new Mexica New Year. I kind of wanted to start the show off that
crazy.
way.
That's crazy. Yo, the chat is lit. The viewership is on fire. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, share the video, like the video. Man, it's a powerful episode.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
I kind of wanted to start off with the Mexica New Year stuff, but it's crazy how it came in the middle of the show because we're talking about the chaotic alternative to understanding order, to understanding commitment, dedication, and actual observation and scientific input on how time shifts. Today is the Mexica New Year. Today, time starts at 12 noon. If I'm not correct, not mistaken. You see, in the Mexica New Year, there are no leap years. There are 4 carriers of time, and those 4 carriers are Tochli, Gali, Tecpa, and Aca. Each of them carries 6 hours, and each of them pushes time forward. So this year, last year, the day shifted at sunset at 6:45. We have just entered a new year, which a new carrier of time carries this time, which is the 13th Kali. The house. We're in the year of the house. In the year of the house, we are to metaphorically use that representation to build a solid foundation during our 4 seasons. So right now is a good time to prepare your heart to bring forth the vision of this new 4 seasons that are given to you. This is the meditation that I got from my Nemotemi, from my fast. To say this to the people, prepare yourselves, get your seeds, physical seeds, plant them in the earth. Right now is the time. Right now is the time to put seeds into the earth or little plants.
For sure.
And don't forget to plant the seeds that are in your heart. You see, the seeds that are in your heart are your dreams. What do you see for this next year? How are you going to contribute to the chaos we talked about in the beginning of the show? There's a lot of work to do. How can we be critical? How can we band together? How can we make ourselves stronger so we can contribute to putting back people onto the sequences of time by practicing the Nemotemi, by burning fires on the winter solstice, on the summer solstice, on the spring equinox? Those 4 cardinal points tell us that time is moving forward. And today marks the first day of our ancestors' count, which is 13 Kali. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy Native New Year.
Happy Native New Year. Anyways, do you have anything to contribute on the Mexica New Year?
There's gonna be events this
Cool.
weekend.
Announce them.
I don't know exactly.
We have
I
the
know there's
Mexica,
gonna
the
be-
Mexica, no, the Mexica New Year is in Sycamore Park, because that's going to be
Yeah.
later on in the month, right?
There's that one, and then there's the Ruben Salazar one, Park one, and the
That one already happened.
That one already happened.
Yeah, the Ruben Salazar Park one happened
Okay.
last weekend.
I know that the La Plaza de Raza already happened. That was last week.
Okay,
But I think there was another one this week somewhere. I'm not sure, but they're
and that's
every
cool.
weekend.
And that's cool that it's almost like Dia de los Muertos, right? It's starting to become Mexica New Year
right,
in Los
and that's
Angeles.
what we want. Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to become like Dia de los Muertos and stuff. So I also want to make an announcement today on Mexica New Year is that I got booked to play and open up for Immortal Technique on April 18th in Riverside. So if anyone is interested, follow me on IG. You can DM me. I have artist tickets that you can purchase from me. And
Shout out.
yeah, man. Shout out to Immortal Technique. Shout out to MC Life for booking me for that show. It's going to be I think it's at the High Life, Armando.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's going to be at the High Life in Riverside, and it'll be probably the second or third. No, I played with Immortal Technique quite a bit, so it would be cool to see him again.
Make sure everyone that's watching follow this page right here on Instagram.
Exactly.
Yeah, the mind says the movement begins when we start supporting each other. That's a good point.
Yeah, really good point. It's how do we get to that space where we don't take things personal? We have to be able to tolerate things and understand that people will make mistakes. Now, how severe we continue to follow and into the trap of someone's dysfunction, that'll be up to the community. That's why it's always good to have a strong community. It's always good to have a small community that joins a bigger community. And then that bigger community always has a common ground, like a regla, like, no one really kind of goes away from the, like, I don't want to
Like
use
a
this.
protocol kind
Yeah,
of.
like a protocol, right? Like,
Right.
It's kind of like the land acknowledgement. Everyone who's native here in LA has to acknowledge the Tongvas and the Quiches and the Shumashes.
And the Aslan.
And Aslan,
Why do?
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Apparently, Zero, you're not allowed to burn sage.
Yeah. We're in a shortage of shade, so. But no, I always find a balance. What I do now is when I go to Venice and I buy a big bundle, I take it apart and I create like 5 bundles out of that one bundle, right? And I burn that very sparingly and only when I kind of feel like I need it.
Because I heard it was going extinct or something, on the verge.
What I feel is happening is that everybody's over picking it in the very easy areas to pick it, But I think if you go deeper into the mountains, you're not gonna get rid of sage, but you're not gonna find it easily. It'll hide from you if you're exploiting it. So I feel like the plant's kind of pulling back on that a little bit. Because people overexploit it and they're selling them for $50 bundles, $60 bundles, and
Selling one piece for $14
yeah. So that's kind of what they're trying to stay away from
in the hipster stores.
Right.
Yeah, in Echo Park.
I mean, they're cool people. Like I've come to peace with people like that. Like they have their own tribe, right? They're their own tribe. Like if they want to pay whatever they want to.
If they want to pay $300 for a pair of jeans, go right ahead.
Yeah,
dog.
bro. Like
I think the issue with the hippies, the dirty hippies, is that they exploit our culture. That's where we butt heads. And they exploit the native tribes' cultures, but they also exploit Mexican indigenous culture and exploit all the indigenous cultures.
it's kind of like
And they profit off of it, though, like a lot.
No, well, because they have their own tribe.
Yeah, but they need to get their own medicines. If that's the case, though, You know, so
I'm not defending them. I'm
No,
just
yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying that look, I'd rather have them wig out over there on ayahuasca all day than them gathering up and signing up for ICE and you know doing that
Smorgasburg.
Yeah, like I'd rather have them kicking it in smorgasbord than having to
There's
Well,
Skid Row LA.
I
becoming.
think they're capable to learn and to change their ways for
Sure.
the better. So we just have to like educate them, and you know, just like they learned about BLM, and they became BLM supporters eventually, and now they're really really strong BLM supporters because they got educated. So I just think that if we're gonna, you know, we gotta educate them.
Definitely. I do agree with that. Like, you know, you got to walk with people who understand your cause, and they're never going to understand it because they're never lived in our neighborhoods. They've never
Right.
suffered our generational trauma. And
Right.
Well, Carrie Morales says, you know, we called out the hood, but those people are transplant people. They're just transplants.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, you know what? There's a misconception going around that we should probably clear up before the show ends tonight. That the Latinos did not vote highly in favor of Donald Trump. It was the exact opposite. There was an article that came out after recently. Shoot, I forgot the name of the website, but apparently it was more like 60% for Kamala Harrison and like 30-something for Donald Trump.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
It has been corrected, and all these people that were saying, oh, we're not going to support the brown community Latinos because this is what they get, this is what they deserve, and we're going to sit this one out, and you guys effed up. And, you know, they owe an apology now, and they need to do their own research before, you know, just
Yeah, no.
slandering the whole community, generalizing the whole community,
it's
put
a
them
good,
down.
It's a good point, but, you know, these are media tactics that are used on our community.
But
Like,
I've met personally a lot of self-hating
There are some.
indigenous heads, dog, and self-hating Latinos and Mexicans. It's bizarre. It's
bizarre.
so bizarre.
I mean, there's a resurgence of those individuals who call themselves Latinos who think they are going to get a shot at sitting at the table with those white people.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole new generation that's like, no, you know, we look at how far we've gone and we all own businesses, and they want to be white so bad. There's a whole generation that look at people like myself who wants to re-understand his indigeneity and apply it to his life as someone who's crazy. And, you know, the cousin that smokes weed and drink beer all day, he's a loser. And we're so better because, look, we went to college and we're Latino and we own businesses and we want to act and be like white people.
Yeah, there's some of those.
There's a lot of those.
It's because they
There's
don't.
a lot of those.
There's some, but like even the voting proves that it was the opposite. But they're like that because they're uneducated. They don't know their history. They don't know their culture.
Well, because their parents came here and they
Yeah.
struggled their hell off to get them to go to school and
Exactly.
put shoes on their feet and get them to college, and now they graduated college.
But in those schools, they were teaching them, you know, to love American culture and
Right.
lose their own culture and identity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened.
Or that's why we get stuck in horchata and Day of the Dead. Mexican culture is like stuck in Mexican culture is stuck in like horchata
Isn't that from Africa? or
and Day of the Dead. I don't know,
Horchata.
but Mexicans love horchata, and that's like a fad. Like I've met the chef, and he's like, "Oh my
So
god!"
wait a minute, horchata's not Mexican or what?
It's I think African or Asian or one of those. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but it's the thing is
It might be Asian because it's made out of rice.
right, but
I was fooled the whole time, dude.
but the thing is that people take it to the next. People jump conclusions and start saying, "Oh, all our culture is African or something." When really, we already had horchata, aguas frescas, like a bunch of them here.
Right.
Our native ancestors. Horchata was just like a variant that some culture contributed here, like one drink. But then people jump to the moon with it.
You know, in high school, I actually had a fucking white homie ask me, "Hey, dog, why do Mexicans drink tamarindo, jamaica, piña, and horchata?" I'm like, "Man, fuck you, dude."
I was just about to say, like,
Those fucking 4 flavors, right? That shit, it's burned into people's memory.
I think that I'm gonna even say another one that's like, I think Jamaica is not Mexican. I think.
all those 3, the popular 3 are not Mexican.
Right.
Jamaica, horchata, and
And
tamarindo.
Right. They're all African or something like
Yeah.
that. And look, some people will say like, oh, well, look, they're not even, but
But we had
that's what-
tons of our own aguas frescas.
that's
here.
what Mexico is like, a community that accepts other things.
Yes.
Like if you brought that from like an exotic place of like wherever, like Africa, and you brought it to Mexico during, prior to colonial rule, you would be like, oh, wow, we could use it like this. And we can put this sweetener in this way. And we can, and they'll do their own thing. And that's hence.
Yeah, make the
why-
best of it.
That's how we got,
Some Mexican
horchata,
stuff.
and that's how we got Jamaica.
That's
and
how
then
we got
tamarindo.
cumbias. That's how we got salsas. And
There you go.
the dance is salsa and cumbia.
It's a mixture of so many cultures coming together, and I think that's the new movement, is that we have to be accepting of people who want change, people who don't want to live under colonial rule, who don't want to be capitalist, who don't want to be communist. We want to be free to make good decisions, plow out our own land, do our own thing, and make sure that we know how to do everything we need to do for our household. We know how to grow food. We know how to make money. We know how to save water. We know how to do all these things. People call it off the grid, but it's really not off the grid. It's really living at one with the universe and Mother Earth. How can you figure out a way with the technology that's out there, with all the water-saving technology, with all the new structures? You don't have to build a house like the colonials built houses. There are new forms of making a house, like out of sand, out of clay. Sometimes maybe having electricity running through your house is a bad thing. Where you sleep shouldn't have any wires in the walls. Like this is the type of transformation that the new world is shifting to. Either you're on it, or you're gonna follow Donald Trump and authoritarian rule and live in a smart city and have them tell you where to eat. Hey, you know what, Armando? You're too fucking overweight. You can't buy fucking Little Caesars today. You gotta fucking eat a salad. And and you know what? You want to drive to Yosemite? Well, you can't take the long range fucking Tesla car. You can't rent it this weekend. Or tell you what, we're not even gonna let you drive this many miles. Program that shit in the computer. This is the technological new world they see. Is them completely controlling population through technological means. That is such a stupid idea, but let them run with it. Because I don't think they know how many people, like they say these statistics like, oh, the earth is 8.9 billion, but they don't know what that number really is. They kind of just say it, they don't know in physicality what that is, right? As a collective consciousness.
I mean, even their technologies are not advanced technologies, like the way that they claim to be. Like,
right.
For instance, like the whole green energy movement,
right,
is all facade. It's not
right.
Even,
it's falling apart now.
No, it's actually as polluting or more polluting than fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm.
It's still under current studies, but it's already equal to as bad as fossil fuels. So it's really just an illusion that we are purchasing vehicles to save
the planet.
It's a full-blown cash grab, right? It's
exactly, but also land and resource grab, because they're going to take the native lands to get those materials to make those vehicles, the batteries and all that.
Right.
It comes from the minerals. So we're going to go to war with the tribes now.
The next 10 years are going to be that, right? Reclaiming land that have minerals. Because you hear it a lot in the news, right?
Well, you're hearing it with the whole Ukraine shit.
Yeah, the whole
going
Ukraine.
down.
I was just about to say
the whole
that.
reason why they met at the White House was to sign a mineral deal. Like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, the minerals means gold, silver, copper,
and hiring all the fucking slave labor
lithium,
they can, bro.
Lithium, all those.
Lithium is the ones for for Elon's cars, yeah.
Well, also,
But a lot of other ones too.
Well, I have a Chevy Bolt. It's for
also
all these fucking
a lot
cars.
of people go to the cars, right? A lot of people go, oh, look at all the cars, look at all the cars.
Cell phones too.
Cell phones is the most important one. because the cell phone is what connects you to computer and networks, right?
We're all stuck on that iPhone, man.
Without the cell phone, and that's why they're trying to get into their whole little illusion of like nanotechnology and spraying shit in the air, and then now that's in your skin, they can track you, right? But it has to work with a cell phone, and that's going very far. But there is nanotechnology, and there are crazy ideas, that they come up with. Think about it. Back when you were talking about the bracero,
Like putting the chip in the head.
right?
Bro,
Right.
I'm wearing this Apple iWatch. They got my vitals, bro.
Yeah,
They
you
sent
see?
me my vital numbers every morning.
That, like, imagine, bro.
It fucking it vibrates. Your vitals are in. It's like, what the fuck? I'm not diabetic yet.
Bro, imagine if it. Okay, this is like 1990. Like this
Wait,
is
what were you saying about the bracero?
okay. Like in the bracero program, when they were taking them out, or they were coming back in, and they were dousing them with
Right. They were
gasoline
gassing them.
and DMT, because they go, oh, if we douse them with DMT, and if we douse them with gasoline, they'll become infertile. So we'll let them back in, but they won't be able to have children. But that didn't stop us from
And
having children
cancer.
and cancers and all that
They
stuff.
did get cancers and all that.
But what I'm saying is that there were so many of us that
It didn't work.
it didn't work. Some of us had genetics that were like, fuck, hey, well, we just. I mean, think about
No,
all.
that's why they started to refer to us as the
Right.
cockroach.
Yeah, right. Because we
Yeah.
survived so much of their abuse and chemical abuse, really. Because you got to think, in the time of L. Ron Hubbard and science fiction writing, they started getting into chemical stuff, right?
Right.
DMT and not DMT, DDT, and all these chemicals that were coming out of the refineries from doing gasoline, because cars have now taken another position in the world, right? They're becoming accessible to everyone. So, chemical warfare has always been in their agenda,
Yeah.
So don't put it past them that this nanotechnology is trying to invent things so that they could track you. But remember, you have to be. Look, the matrix is very easy to see. It's everything that is a falsehood. Everybody thinks it's the zeros and the ones that are coming down in the movie screen, and that's the matrix. No, the matrix this is a false cave. They built a wall and they made it look like a cave. This is the matrix, right? So all the falsehoods that they create is to entrap you into these cities, into these, what they call countries, what they call continents. But in reality, there are no borders. You could keep walking and walking. Yeah, you'll find a section that has a very guarded border, but I mean, people walk across all the time because there are no borders. There are no continents. There are no countries. There only are people and how they get along. That's my opinion. When we get to that level and work together in small groups and really create a tight bond with each other, protect those small groups that unite with bigger groups.
Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, is to unite with everybody, with all races. But I mean, we'd still have to work on our own little continent and get our stuff together. Because like they say, you can't help others if you're going to bleed all over them. You got to fix yourself, and then you can go and save that person. Otherwise, you're just going to you'll both die,
Agreed. And the thing with us, though, is that this is our homeland, so we have a connection already.
Right.
We already know how to work together.
Mexicanos know how to, yeah.
Yeah,
when it's time, then they finally do get together.
Yeah, we all get together. And then we break off into our little familias, and we all have our costumbres, and we all have our things, that we all have our bad habits. We have a tío who drinks too much. We have a woman.
Then we're back to being gringo and Mexicano.
Right.
Gabacho, whatever you want.
But, I mean, I think that we can build our communities up to be responsible for ourselves so that we can contribute to the larger scale, which is what people call in their head a country. right? And right now we are in a house that's pretty much divided. You know, some of us think that we're Latinos, some of us think we're Mexican, some of us think we're indigenous, some of us think we're pre-Hispanic,
Chicano.
Chicano. I mean, but
But we all can agree on raza and
yeah,
like Mexicano.
exactly. Yeah, because we all come from that same root. We all come from that same tree. You know, we're one big family on this in Turtle Island, especially on the West Coast, and it goes all the way up to Canada.
Right.
You know, the Nahuatl people were merchant people, and some people, the people that didn't decide to live in the big cities became Postecas, and the Postecas were people who took and traveled and went to other places and brought back things to the community and took things to other communities.
Right.
These are the Postecas. And then when they came together in the big city, they were Mexica all together. But there were different groups. There were healing groups. There were agriculture groups. Everybody had an order because we followed the seasons. The seasons were very important in our life. The new year was very important to recognize. The equinox, the solstice, the equinox, the solstice, and then the new year again.
Right.
These are ancient counts that were started thousands of years ago with our system of math, with our philosophy and theology.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Kind of lost my train of thought.
It's okay. It's okay. It's your first time. Well, welcome
Yeah.
to the show, man. You did pretty good. I mean, you didn't seem too shy. You seem pretty comfortable, and I'm sure that you're gonna be inspired to go and research and have your own opinion about certain topics. And as we grow in this podcast, I really feel like a woman's energy is needed so that it's a balanced thing. You pointed out things that I didn't see, and vice versa, I think. But we're all trying to figure out where the new direction's going to lead us to. And the one thing that I could talk about being consistent about is this nemotemi and rooting myself to time, literally. Because I give a little bit of myself those 5 days of not eating. I get to observe other people and their routines. I get to see if they're happy in their routines, if they're satisfied with their routines. Obviously, those are just my assumptions, but when you're in a state of depriving yourself, you get to feel other people's energy. Not take it on, but feel it. I learned so much in this road that I took. Each year teaches me one more thing. So
Good.
when it teaches me one thing, I let go of another. So I start to say, like, okay, this year I'm not going to do this anymore because I'm 1 year older. So I have to release one thing in this nemotemi. I haven't figured out what I've dedicated. Like, for me, it was like brewed or distilled alcohol, gone. Meat, gone. Dairy, gone. Sometimes I cheat, but most of the time, gone. But
It's normal.
But we make those. That's how I feel. This is the meditation that I got when doing this sacrifice, is that's the way you're able to grow. Like a tree can't remain a seed if he's trying to be a tree. You have to let go of the stages in life that make you comfortable. And each nemotemi, when you fast and you clean your thoughts and you clean your body and you only drink liquid and you don't eat solid foods for 5 days, you learn a lot about yourself.
Oh yeah. I've done fasting.
And it's a very, that, at least for me, it's been life-changing for me. You know,
Yeah.
it's really brought me together with my own genetics, with my own. And when I say my own genetics, is because inside that genetics is a memory, and that memory is really a reflection of your own self, your own spirits, all those elders that walked before you, that live inside of you.
Yeah. Speaking of that, yeah, fasting's great, but also Temazcal or sweat lodge is
Yes.
great too.
Mm-hmm.
I went
agree.
this past weekend. I went, and I felt kind of. I feel great. I have healed, and it's a good time for me. But I do feel like a little guilty. Like what? I can't. Like, where's the community? Like, where are these sweat lodges? Where's the temazcales? They're so hard to find and locate.
Right.
They're not being organized. And the thing is that there is resources for these sweat lodges and the temazcales. There's a lot of nonprofits out there. There's so many, but they're not just not doing them. And they're not available to the people. They're not available to Chicanos, to Mexicanos, to Mexicans. The brown community has kind of like no idea about them, that they exist.
Right.
So yeah,
And how healing they could be.
how powerful they are.
Right.
And yeah, when you
How does it
sit in
affect
there-
you?
Well, it's dark in there, and there's a lot of praying and there's singing. But some people have experiences, and when I have had my sweat lodges in Temazcali, I've had visions, I had messages,
Nice.
I had strong messages that actually put me in the path that I'm in today, doing what I'm doing.
Nice.
Like, you ask, you pray, you ask the creator, creation, whatever you call them, the great mystery, for something that you want to know, or you want to strengthen, or you want to, something you want to ask. And I ask, and that's how I get my answers and guidance. But you also see, like, it's different for everyone, but I don't really want to say give away everything but you got to be there to experience it.
You really recommend?
Really do. I recommend it. You got to, in order to find out and know about it, what it is, you got to attend one.
Right.
I can only say some things, but it is life-changing. It is strengthening of your spirit, your confidence. It heals you physically and emotionally. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to do this ancient Aztec or native spiritual rituals for healing. It's called Temazcal or Sweat Lodge.
Yeah. And there's different versions. So
Yeah, and there's different versions.
Temazcalis or Nipi.
Dude, like a couple years ago, remember I told you there was a news report that, like, in Vegas, some white people started a sweat lodge and like 4 of them died and shit, and fucking.
Yeah, but that was like a while ago, and I think it was the dude that was running, like he was from like The Secret or something like that. He was some white dude.
It's a white, it's the hippies.
It was like a
That's why I said
retreat.
those hippies. The
They'll fucking
hippies
kill you.
are a problem because they also not just exploit the culture for money, like running those.
They were
sweat
charging. Yeah, they were
lodges.
charging
Yeah.
top dollar.
And you're not. This is supposed to be free, and to go pray, it's supposed to be free.
Even more so, you have to be invited.
Also, yes.
Yeah, you have to be invited. It's not like something that you just go like, okay, cool. When is it? On Wednesday? All right, I'm gonna be there. Some of them are like that. Those are more outreaching kind of, healing, like people who do like NA ones or people on Red Road, kind of like Alcohol Anonymous kind of stuff,
Right.
where they do it weekly. But
I wanted to set up.
I think those temazcales are very important, and I do believe so. That's what we need to do as a community. We have to identify a need, and then once we identify the need, then we can find a space where we can either temporarily host them or guide people
Bro,
to them.
if LA Natives Zero, you lead a temazcal and you create a sweat lodge, bro, trust me, the LA Natives tribe, they're gonna come pull up.
Right, and I wouldn't run. I wouldn't run. I wouldn't. I know what he's
All
saying.
of our subscribers will pull up on
Yeah,
there.
I wouldn't. I know what he's saying. I wouldn't.
Let them pull up.
I wouldn't run it because I have people that I feel already went and did the proper steps to running them.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's important to know
Important.
who's pouring water. And so, but I already have a lot of people that I feel are good hearts that will help the community and will pour water in a good way. We just got to find the land. And once we find the land, we got to all agree that we're going to take care of this land.
Right.
And it's all step by step.
$199 per ticket, guys. I'm just fucking with you guys.
If anybody knows of the land, then drop it in the comments where we can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're definitely, you know, I mean, I have a lot of people that are waiting to really, and I really want to address it towards, you know, the East Los Angeles
Exactly.
indigenous community, because that's the indigenous community that I come from. And
Yes.
I can only affect my community around me. Now, once we get a system of healing going down, then I think I'll make the invitation more broader. But for now, I'll focus in on what's around me, you know, and what's around me are a lot of beautiful hearts that need assistance, that need the consistency of something like that. And there are two. I want to have two on this land. I want to have a clay one, right? That's called, that's the Temescali, right? And I want to have an Inipi, which is the Lakota style, right? So
With the branches.
right, with the willow tree. The willow tree and this, there's a specific design to it. I'm not going to say it because it's sacred, but you know, you go do your research on Lakota with sweat lodges, and they're called inipis. But I also want to have 4 of them, 2 for males and 2 for females, right? And
Oh, the one I went to was mixed. Some of them have
no,
mixed.
we could. I mean, there's always going to be different versions of Temescali, and there's co-ed. But I really believe that the women have to find a space in that. Imagine like a full Temescali of women discussing and healing each other. You know, I don't know what that would look like because I'm a male. I know what it's like for a male. I've been in an all-male one, and I think the co-ed ones are beautiful because they're more family. They're more. You know, community, they're more, and they sometimes are even more powerful because it's a mixture of both energies.
Yeah, I like it. I've done both. I haven't done that many, but 2 of the 3 were, you know, individual, and then the recent one was mixed. So I got the experience of both.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I was associated with a community, and we had temescalis and ceremonies for over 10 years.
Nice.
And so I was able to have a consistent home, and I know what it feels like to have that. So that is my dream for the community of LA natives, is to kind of make a place that is dedicated to our ancient wisdoms and dispersing our ancient medicines in a good way by credible people. And the community will say who the credible people are, not me. I don't have that wisdom. The community does. The women, the men, the children, the fire. They'll all decide on who will lead the prayers in this sacred space. But that's where we're at, man.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
I think we're in that space now. I mean, I got a lot of LA Natives is taking a turn for the, you know, getting this big show with Immortal Technique, and you know, my bookings have been going up. So I mean, focusing on my art side of things now that Malenali's closed, I'm still going to focus on pop-ups, and we're going to still try to find a place for plant-based aslan. But yeah, that's where we're at, man. I guess we're on the trajectory of change, and everything changes because there's always a new year. There's always a new cycle.
Right. And some people talk about the prophecies, the native prophecies, the change that's here. And I think that it is here. We've seen the children rise up, the walkouts.
Right.
And that was an incredible force. Like,
I seen them walking on Whittier Boulevard. Yeah.
They're strong little kids that are, they have the spirit of their ancestors, the native ancestors, warrior spirit. And they were out there defending their families from being deported.
Right.
I mean, they're still doing it too. So I was thinking, like, what are we going to do for the kids? Well, what are we going to do for the kids? Because they're doing their part.
Right.
But, okay, well, what are we going to offer them in return? We need to have their resources for them, like Temescali.
Right.
Education about their history, their culture, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because they want to know. They want to know more. They want to know. They're asking more. Like, who are we? why they're wondering why they're in the situation that they're in.
Yeah, and there's people of my generation that have a lot of information on why.
Right, exactly.
You know, our generation went hard on exactly what happened. You know, all uncovering very, very deep to the point where I was talking earlier, where there's layers of things. You have general population, you have, elite families, and then you got a spiritual aspect to it. So there's different aspects and planes to the ruling of the population. But the one thing they don't have is our understanding, what our abuelos planted in our heart. See, they planted stories that are very, very old and very, very sacred and took a long time to get to. We all went through that, wanting to rule the world. But we understood that it was a foolish road, that it led to nowhere. Ultimately, it led it to your own demise.
Yes.
Because there is no such thing as ruling the world. There's only living with the people and the vegetation and the community that you love. That's the main purpose in life. At least this is what I've come to surmise in my 50 years of life.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I mean, but then, you know, they're being exposed, the youth, all the people are being exposed to the media that, you know, it shows them to be, it teaches you to be more superficial, like to aspire to riches and gold and expensive cars and hoes and all that.
Well, that's the rap game, right? That's the hip hop business.
That's Mondo's area right there.
These motherfuckers want it all, you know?
But it's an illusion, right?
But that's the wrong mindset to
Mondo,
have.
you work with all these like hipster influencer, you know, rappers now, because they're not even rappers anymore. They're more influencers. Do they actually have that money? Do they actually pull up with?
Some of them do, you know? It's just they got cult followings. They release a T-shirt and it sells out, right? Like,
see, that's what we need to build for our community. When we release a T-shirt, that it should sell out, because we're going to put that resources not in the pocket of me.
the most fucking narcissistic bullshit you can ever hear.
We're going to put it into an event.
Yeah, and brown communities supporting one another.
Right.
Yeah.
Businesses, brown businesses. We're going to put it into brown, buildings that will educate us and have workshops and all that stuff. We try to do at Malinali, but it was a little difficult when we're working with nonprofits that are not really invested in the community and don't see the things that Malinali brought. We brought a monthly market. We brought a yearly event that put everyone in a space where they felt comfortable being indigenous, because 99.9% of Mexican people come from indigenous lineage.
Right, the
Hey,
majority.
all these editors would have no idea.
Yeah, and they all cut their hair like a Mayan.
Yeah, they do. Well, because you cannot get rid of the Indian in the man like they tried to.
Right.
We're always going to have that memory in our blood.
Right.
So we're always going to tattoo ourselves, cut our hair like that. We're going to have grills forever on our
It's that
teeth.
genetic memory, you know?
Yeah, it just always comes back, like recycled.
Right. Like spring.
Exactly, like the spring, like the season.
Yeah. We're very cyclical people, and when we start to master those cycles and start to plan our lives in that way, we're going to start to see a lot of change, and very quickly, because they work where New Year starts in the middle of winter. So they plant their seeds in cold dirt, where we understand that the flowers come out in March. And so if we plan with the seasons, if we move, see, right now there's an energy shift that the universe is going through. What do you think makes the flowers come out of the plants? Something's happening in the sky right now at this moment that's making plants become flowers. It happens every March. And our ancestors studied it religiously. They put their heart and soul in commemorating this point in time. We are a part of time, and time is a part of us. We get to be our own flower. We get to create our own outcomes. And even though there's a lot of suffering in the world, even though there's a lot of bigotry, racism, pretty much hunting of individuals who have brown skin and can't speak English properly, there's a manhunt. in our own land.
Right. I mean,
We just need to be
by invaders.
right. But I think our magic and our power comes from our culture. Our culture is not just horchata and the Day of the Dead. You know, our culture is a lot deeper than that. Our culture comes with math, science, philosophy, art. We are one of the most profound Chicano people. Are probably one of the best tattoo artists on the planet. Like usually, if you go for the best tattoo artists on the planet, one of them is going to be Chicano, right? From East LA.
I believe that.
You know, we're very powerful artists. Our art is, even in the 60s and 70s with Paul Boteo and all these other artists that are muralists from East Los Angeles, they were very profound. Art has always been in our blood.
And the graffiti, we can't leave that one out.
Yeah, exactly. There's been
There,
tons of Chicano
Chicanos,
graffiti.
the ones that started the graffiti, pretty
Yeah.
much the movement.
Yeah. So we've been a part of this cultural shift since the beginning. Now it's time to focus in on our ancestral ways.
Yeah, for sure.
We need to be like, you know, really, really, really in tune with that. But as we move forward, hey, thanks for coming on. It was really cool. I think you had cool opinions and
yeah, thanks for having me.
yeah, man.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You enjoyed
come
yourself?
back. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
It's been good chatting.
That's cool.
Shout out to everyone.
What'd
Shout
you
out to
think,
everyone
Mondo?
in the chat.
What'd you think? How did
Oh no,
Paul
it's
do?
great. Yeah. She's a major voice in the community.
Yeah.
Influencer, a legit one too, by the way.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's
Thank
hard
you.
enough. Like, you know, as we push content, it's kind of like we can't run away from it. You know what I'm saying? It's like we always have to do it. Like I'm in that role too, where it's just like we just have to feed our audience and speak your mind. You know.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And she did a great job. So thank you for coming. And any last words that you want to share with the community?
Check out the Mexican New Year's this weekend, next weekend until the end of March. Support the brown community. They work really hard on the events, and a lot of times people don't show up because they don't even know about the events. So spread the word as much as you can. You know, word of mouth is still the best means to advertise. So you're helping out just by letting someone know about it. Share it, repost it. Yeah, and watch LA Natives podcast.
What's your page?
You can follow me at quali.indigenous on TikTok and Instagram, on YouTube.
Yeah, pull up her page real quick, Armando, so people could see her page. Follow her on her page. She has a strong community voice. She always advocates for our people, and she spends a lot of time on her posts. So yeah, follow our page, subscribe to our movement. Be on the lookout for some events that are coming up. We're starting to organize ourselves as we move into this next year. Remember that this is the new year. The new time has shifted. We are in 13 Kali, which is the last year before we move into a new cycle. So the next year will be 1, and I don't remember what's next, but I think it's Kali. It goes Kali Tekpat. So we'll be in the Tekpat year on Tekpat, 1 Tekpat the next year. So this is the end of a 13-year cycle. This is how intricate our timekeeping was. So it's very important. I encourage everyone in LA Natives to research what the Mexica New Year is and how they applied it to their life. I recently have been following a few pages from Mexico, and they've been teaching us a lot of things through the social media platform about how to prepare ourselves for the new year. And I think I'm learning so much. I feel like I'm a sponge, and next year will be a little different.
Good.
And hopefully, we'll have ceremonial lands where we can celebrate this new year and commemorate time in front of the fire. Our children deserve that. Our next generations deserve that. Our people deserve that. We don't deserve to be lost anymore. We have a culture that has given us wisdom, science, math, art, spirituality. We never were lost.
And now we have the opportunities because before, I mean, our ancestors were not allowed to practice their culture, and it was shunned and it was lost. But you know, we're in 2025, so I think people, they have opportunities now to go back and learn their culture and get the most out of it. We're not like forced to even practice Christianity or Catholicism if you don't want to. There's options. There's a native culture and spirituality.
Yeah. So we're in the new shift of time where that's a good point. We're able to practice as much as we can, thanks to the people of AIM. You know, their sacrifice. They're bringing up the right to be able to practice our indigenous ways. Sundance, Inipi, Temescali, Umblecha. There's so many.
Shout out to AIM.
Shout out to who?
To AIM.
To AIM, yes. Shout out to AIM and all of their good work that they did. John Trudell, Dennis Banks, Russell Memes. Their mark has left instructions for us to be how we are, to defend ourselves when people are treating us bad, and to figure out ways to advance our community. But I'll always be connected to the timekeeping of our ancestors. I think that was the most profound thing they gave to our world, is the timekeeping part. Not like we rule time, but we understand how time shifts, how time gives us things, how time gives us beautiful beautiful flowers in the springtime that turn into beautiful fruit in the summertime, right? That we harvest and we save for the wintertime. This is all a rhythm of harmony that our ancestors gifted us. And that gift lives inside your heart. And that heart connects you to a long line of ancestors, which is in your blood. We'll see you next week. Plazo Kamatli. Ometeo.